That seems more than a bump. It looked like there was something going on.
Well, even with your theory, if they can convince one juror that your theory is accurate.
You're right. So since you're there, I want you to like poke holes in it. Like, like what do you see as evidence that would say, nah, that theory won't hold any water?
If it's bought by one juror or two jurors, it gives reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt doesn't get you to a conviction.
Well, I guess I was asking, I'm like, okay, so you've seen like all the evidence. Is there any evidence that you've seen that theory thus far, and we could only talk about thus far, that you could say, well,
she testify. We cannot talk about that until she testifies tomorrow. We can come back and revisit that theory tomorrow after the conclusion of the direct and cross. But right now, we're not there yet.
Let me ask you a question too, because you talked about Kelsey's. We talked about the immunity deal, right? A possible immunity deal.
What deal?
No,
there's no deal there. They would have to disclose that. That would be something that would have to be disclosed before the trial even started, in pre-trial. That's not even the conversation. There's no immunity deal.
Okay. So all right. Oh, let's throw that out the window, right?
Throw it out the window.
If I am Kelsey and I see the defense's strategy is that they're saying that they're blaming the crime or the commission of the crime on a third party, and I happen to be said third party, and there is some evidence. For example, there was gunshot residue found on me. Why would she not invoke the Fifth Amendment?
Well, you only invoke the Fifth Amendment self-incrimination if you are in any type of legal jeopardy. She's not.
Wait, how do we know that though? Imagine.
No, hold on. So I think which not an immunity deal, but what you're saying is she in any legal jeopardy? Well, that would be known up front. And I would guess that Kelsey will have her own attorney tomorrow. If she comes in with her own attorney, then there's a reason for that.
Back in November when she showed up and it got postponed, she showed up with an attorney. So I'm expecting it's going to be the same again.
Okay, so that's interesting. I did not know that. So why would she show up with an attorney? Is she in legal jeopardy?
So maybe she invokes the Fifth Amendment. I don't think that the prosecution is putting her on the stand if they don't know what she's going to say, though. And that's why I feel like there is some type of promise to her. Hey, we don't want you. We're not going to prosecute you. If in your testimony you say, hey, I took the gun out of Tory's hands and I had possession of it, and I did it to stop him from doing whatever, you won't get charged with possessing a weapon either.
She would. Let me say this: if it's a defense's contention that she shot the gun, she would need an attorney there because now you have one side saying that she shot the gun, so now it makes sense for her to have an attorney there. So she might be in legal jeopardy if she says the wrong thing. So yes, I agree with you. The attorney might be sitting at the defense table or at a third table, making sure his or her client is not saying the wrong thing to put themselves in legal jeopardy. But she's coming in as a prosecution witness. So to your question, she might be in legal jeopardy, depending on what she says.
I'm wondering if at any point during her testimony will she invoke the Fifth Amendment at all. I personally think not, because I do think this is a big. I think number one, this case wouldn't have gone anywhere without the testimony of Meg. I thought that was huge, but I do believe that Kelsey needs to be. She's probably going to have to be the shining star for them.
Also, if there was a potential of her invoking her Fifth Amendment, that's not going to look well in front of a juror. If she says, you know, her attorney says, Your Honor, at this point, my client wishes to invoke the Fifth Amendment. Then guess what? That shifts the conversation. Now, why is this person invoking the Fifth Amendment regarding her testimony? Did she do? Then the jury's going to look at that a little differently. If she invokes a Fifth Amendment, then she's going to be looked at like someone who possibly could have fired the pistol. And she does that.
Yeah.
She'll look very guilty. If she invoked anything other than the truth, she's going to look guilty.
And I guess we're gonna get to see tomorrow, but man, I feel like this has been one for the ages already, man. Like,
and guess what? You played a role in this. So we'll talk about that at the conclusion of the trial.
Who, me? Not I. I played 0. They mentioned my name in a lot of pre-trial motions. I do know that.
Right. So you played a role in this, and we just have to delve into how much of a role you played, Mr. Academics.
For whatever reason, the prosecutor, which, by the way, I think the prosecutor's doing some sloppy work. I'm going to tell you one thing. They mentioned my name, and they did a late motion and basically said, hey, listen, we're worried that, you know, because they had made an order that basically it was to protect the discovery. And then I guess I put something up, and they were like, yo, he's still getting stuff. And I knew that the DA or the prosecutor was like super just sloppy with it, because what I put up was a police report, and you could get the police report if you knew like the file number to go to the clerk and ask for at the station. You know what I mean? So I was like,
I have a question for you. Why haven't you shown up at this trial?
I got shit to do.
Huh?
And also I hear it's musical chairs. Like, once they see me in court, they're gonna know what it is.
And would you show up with your attorney?
Would I show up with an attorney?
Yes.
If I got to show up with an attorney, I would show up. If I'm not legally, see, hey, you do actually bring up a good point. But listen, I am not liable for any criminal charges in this trial. Whether they want to say that how I've acted is how any media or journalistic institution should act, that is up for conversation. But I've definitely not broken any laws. And actually, me being a private citizen, the only person who could have really disobeyed any orders of the court was actually Tory Lanez, not Livingston Allen, aka DJ Academic. So, I mean,
well,
number one,
tampering with evidence or intimidating witnesses are crimes.
I've done neither.
Okay, all right, that's it. That's it.
Done neither.
You just made a declaration. I just had to get you on record.
No, I've done neither. Like, first of all, I couldn't tamper with evidence when I have no access to the evidence. As I said, sloppy work by the DA. The DA is talking about publicly, like, you could pull a police report from anything. You see an accident down the street,
I do it all the time.
You can pull a police report from it.
I do it all the time.
Exactly. So when I heard the DA say, hey, he's getting more info on the case, and I think he's seeing discovery, yes, the police report is in discovery, but I didn't get it through this. It would actually have the word discovery on it. Like, it's watermarked with discovery.
I think you have to be careful right now. You just ran into a legal situation just now.
Who?
How did you get that document?
What?
How did you get that document?
The police report?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I got it through no means that had to do with anybody in that case. Facts. Actually, hold on. Actually, I'll tell you how I got it, because it's not that big of a secret. That document was procured by someone that has a YouTube channel. His name is 1811. His name is Myron Gates. He's a former federal agent that breaks down a lot of hip-hop cases. He had someone personally go to that court and fetch that document. He shared it with me because we're colleagues and we're friends. And honestly, anybody could have gotten it.
Well, hold on.
By the way, they gave me credit for, I guess because I have the bigger platform, they gave me credit for getting the document when he sent me the document.
So this is what I know about criminal cases that are being prosecuted. The police report is typically not released fully. Some parts, a lot of it is redacted. So was that report redacted?
I can tell you right now, I got it. I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. Okay, here we go. Oh, just off even opening it, yeah, it's redacted. It's like there's a bunch of shit redacted on it. Social Security's redacted, phone numbers are redacted, addresses are redacted. There's even certain redacted information for some of the stuff that has to do with the okay, yeah, all the addresses of the witnesses are redacted. Yeah, it just says their names. So it's a redacted document. It's fair game.
Okay. Well, do you think that Megan was right for thinking possibly that you might have had an inroad to Tory's camp?
Wait, repeat that question?
Do you think Megan is justified in believing that you, in particular, might have an inroad into Tory Lanez's camp?
No, I don't think she's wrong for thinking that, but I think she's wrong for jumping to the conclusion. Like, again, it's one thing knowing where I'm getting the information from. It's another thing making that assumption and just claiming I got the information from someone who I didn't. You know what I mean? Okay. What happened with Meg is that, Meg took an aim at my platform because I would report certain things. Like, for example, not a lot of media platforms put out the information when it initially came out. TMZ did, that the muzzle flash that went. There was a witness that said that when they saw a muzzle flash and they saw a female. So they didn't say they seen a male. So, and the muzzle flash would be the gun going off. They said they seen a muzzle flash and a female behind it. You get what I mean? That's important information. I put that out, make sure I lose their mind. You know why? Because, again, and you could watch this too. We're editorializing at this point, but if you listen to what Meg is saying, and if you match the timeline with any time her story changes, she even blatantly said, if you weren't doing these things that were affecting the media, I wouldn't have told on you. So Meg has been very keen about whatever information that came out till she basically just admitted, I'm only saying you shot me, brother, because you're making me look bad in the media.
Well, what she said was, the only reason why I come forward as to who shot me, him shooting me, is because he's been doing a proactive approach to the case. He's got in front of it where she was just trying to let this thing die down and then resolve it privately, but that didn't work that way.
Wait, but how could you resolve it privately? And they mentioned it today when she was trying to say, yeah, I wasn't trying to, in hip-hop, they hate snitches. She already talked to the cops. So she didn't say it publicly.
She did that 4 days afterwards. She did that on the 16th. On the 16th, she started communicating with the detective and telling.
And it took a month later for her to name Tory. And by the way, there was still no charges. I really think if she doesn't name, if they don't think she, or if they don't feel they're confident that she's taking the stand, and again, this is an opinion I'm asking you for. If she is telling them, hey, no way, no how, I'm getting on that stand to testify against Tory, so you could charge him, but I'm not getting on that stand. I think that's not the case. They needed her to do what she did today.
They did.
So,
But she has
so
to be,
going back to what I'm
she has
saying,
to be a cooperating victim witness, even for this case to move forward to be indicted. You gotta get to the indictment part. They couldn't indict Tory if she wasn't a cooperating witness.
I
She would
agree.
have to make the admission that make a declaration that he shot her.
I agree, and that's why I come back to say the same point. Meg's obsession with what she believes the media is saying about the incident and what she believes it's actually Tory. Like, she flat out just accused me of saying, hey, listen, Tory's just paying you to put out bad stuff against me. Not the case. You get what I mean? And
yes, guys, how's my? I just turned off the. I just fixed the Wi-Fi. How's it now?
I'll see if it gets better. Hold on. Chat, you guys let me know if it gets better. Yeah, again, Meg's just been very focused on social media and how the news about the details around the case were being reported. And she really just summed up to say, hey, a bunch of you guys are being paid by Tory. I thought it was fair and even reporting. I reported at one point, Meg said the only word she heard was dance, bitch, dance. Cool. Everybody loved it. Yo, that sounds ridiculous. Okay, whatever. Then I report, well, there's another witness. He's saying he looked out the window and he said he seen a muzzle flash and a woman behind it. She didn't like that.
So you helped frame the narrative.
I mean, I helped put out the random pieces of what was being considered evidence and still are being considered evidence because the individual who said that is going to take the stand. So again, all it tells me is that I was doing the right thing.
Someone had a, obviously you brought this up. I'm sorry. We had to hear from the witness who said he saw two women fighting. And
yes,
he had to get on the stand because that provides a opportunity to present a shadow of doubt. Then you start thinking about if they actually did fight, did the fight go beyond hands? And was the gun grabbed by Kelsey, which, again, based on what I've heard, I don't know if that's really plausible, but we can entertain that when we hear more witnesses.
The witness who is Sean Kelly, he said, and this is in the police report. He stated he heard, and this is what I'm saying. These things I would report as, hey, this is what a witness is saying. She doesn't like any type of report that doesn't just say Tory shot me. That's the only thing she really appreciates, which I understand. She's a victim, and I definitely, I'm not trying to belittle her or act like she wasn't hurt because I do believe she was hurt. But this is a case that definitely does someone's freedom is hanging in the balance, and if he did it, well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And if he didn't do it, you don't want to send somebody wrongly accused to jail.
Absolutely not.
Right? And this witness said, look, he said the passenger, and by the way, his keep in mind this is 2 years ago. His statement he gave that night is lining up very accurately with all the holes we're asking about what Meg said. It's lined up pretty. I'm gonna read it. He stated he heard arguing outside of his bedroom. He looked outside and observed the black Escalade. He stated the passenger door was open and observed 4 suspects, 2 males, 2 females. Kelly stated 1 male was heavyset, second was thin build. He stated the rear passenger exited from the vehicle, one of the females, then began fighting with the other female. At one point, Kelly observed 1 female crawl out the black Escalade and onto the driveway. He heard about 4 to 5 shots. Kelly stated both males were punching, closed fists, one of the females and dragged her into the vehicle. Remember my theory I told you? hey, if somebody got a gun, you got to disarm her some way, somehow, okay? And drag her into the vehicle, right? No one ever said, or Megan's never alluded to saying she got dragged into the vehicle. It seemed like she went back into the vehicle, even though, she was definitely hobbling. The vehicle fled southbound on Nichols Cannon, whatever. So, again, that is the witness that's going to, of all these witnesses, I haven't seen any other witness, number one, be as detailed, but I don't think any other witness is going to be given a statement like Sean Kelly. And I think Sean Kelly is going to be the one to say, no, there were two women fighting each other. And again, I think if you omit the part that two women were fighting, you get to drive a narrative that Tory got dissed about his music and shot a woman because of his music. But if you actually take into account that maybe there was a physical altercation between two women, maybe there was the shooter is in question, because it's not that, because right now it seemed to be Kelsey is someone who just cares about her best friend, because even the prosecutor stated that Tory punched Kelsey when Kelsey was trying to stop Tory from approaching Meg after he shot her. Kelsey looks like the one who's defending her best friend.
Do you actually, honestly, even using critical thinking, that that's plausible? Do you think that perhaps they did have a fight, and maybe Tory pulled the firearm out to put some fear into Megan, because maybe Megan might have even put hands on him?
That ability. See, these are theories. Okay, and by the way, because it's taking so long, I know we're in the process of trial now. But again, if you could, I think I've asked everybody this question. I'll ask you too. It's clear there's no smoking gun, right? It's clear there's no like, oh, gotcha. Here's the video.
There was a warm gun, but I know, no pun intended.
Yeah.
It wasn't real.
Yeah. So essentially, it's all going to be about narratives and theories and what makes the most sense. And a lot of circumstantial stuff. So, okay. I think that theory, if you're saying two women are fighting, maybe also Meg got a little physical with Tory too. And then Tory grabs a gun trying to get them to stop fighting. Maybe he says, I'm about to just shoot at the ground or whatever the case is. Bullet fragments.
So why didn't Kelsey catch any bullet fragments? If you believe that theory.
Well, okay. That's why that theory don't hold no water, because allegedly Kelsey was behind the gun. Why would you need to shoot to break up a fight if one of the people who allegedly would have been fighting is behind the gun? That's why I then say, okay, it seems like perhaps there was a struggle for the gun, because otherwise, why are you shooting at the ground?
I don't know about the struggle part. If it was a struggle for the gun, I don't know if that was, I can't. I don't know. I don't know if Kelsey saw him pull the gun out and try to intercede and say, hey, no, don't do it, and touch the gun.
Let me ask you a question. And by the way, we're obviously going to get, if you're going to say you don't know, the next person is going to be Kelsey, who's going to probably be responsible for trying to answer it. Where was the gun prior to Tory pulling it? Was it within the reach of one person? Was it like in a center console, glove box? Was it in a luggage in the back?
No one. Only one could testify to that would be Kelsey. If she saw the gun, did anyone know that there was a gun? Who knew there was a gun in the car? Because when the police arrived, there was a gun on the floorboard. They picked the gun up from the floorboard and put it in the passenger seat. Now, who would know that other than the owner of that gun? Would it be the driver? Or would it be because remember, this car belongs to the driver or Tory. Meg came to Kylie's house in another vehicle.
Yeah.
So I don't think Megan was running around with the pistol.
But apparently, when they get into the car with Tory, they brought luggage or they brought some type of bags. Who knows if there might have been a pistol in said bags?
That's a possibility.
Also, you know what struck me as odd, and I want to hear your opinion on this. The prosecutor in an opening statement says Tory basically punches out Kelsey after he shot Meg. Why he ain't charged for that?
That's a good question. Why didn't you charge him if they believe that? Why didn't you charge him with an aggravated? Since they amended the charges during jury selection, why didn't you charge him with assault? That's a good point. Why didn't they charge? If they believe that, why didn't they charge him with that as well? And would Kelsey be a corroborating witness to that charge? So that you make a good point there. Why didn't they charge Tory with at least assault on Kelsey?
It means it definitely does mean 100,000% Kelsey has to be saying that tomorrow, because who else would be saying it? I mean, granted, there was a witness who said they seen a man hit a woman, but why put that in your narrative if, especially that witness ain't even testifying for you? He testifying for the defense.
Hold on one second.
So,
hold on a second, AK. What you're going to do? Hold on. I got it. Listen, Michelle is a veteran in this game, and she says, "Why you're going to do when Tory goes to jail?" Well, give him commissary. I don't know.
Well, hey, again, I don't want to score this like a heavyweight fight. I'm just thinking it seems a little bit sloppy on the part of the prosecutors. You lead with this narrative that doesn't make sense. Tory gets. They start. I hear the. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Because
wait, hold on. Why do people call me Uncle Tom Byron? Don't do that. Don't do that, player. I'm from the Bronx, man. Don't do that. I'm from the South Bronx. Ain't no Uncle Tom in my blood. Don't do that. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Just entertain your comment.
So again, I think the narrative the prosecutor try to push is just to any rational human being trying to use some critical thinking skills here. You don't get dissed about your music and get shot. Like if somebody dissed me about my broadcasting skills or whatever the case is, or someone dissed you about your journalistic abilities, it's just not an appropriate reaction, even under the influence, to say, you know what, I'm shooting you. Okay? Now, I would believe using a weapon is an escalation tactic once you already got at least physical, right? Maybe things have been building. And I just don't think the prosecutor has even given an attempt to try to show a ongoing, quarrel or argument that was building from the party, escalating to the point someone says, I'm grabbing this gun. And the reason why is because it wouldn't follow the narrative they're trying to have paint.
Okay, so here's something else, and I'm listening to you. Megan knew Kelsey for 13 years. Megan knew Tory for, when the incident happened, for almost a year. Clearly, her allegiance would be to Kelsey, someone that is a close friend of hers. How far did that allegiance go, and what separated their friendship? If you have a friendship for 13 years, should we think that Megan's smashing her boyfriends would separate their friendship if they get down like that?
If it's happened habitually, and if we believe the defense that, well, it happened to the baby, it happened with other individuals like the baby, and keep in mind, the baby who he just volunteered this information. He said, well, I had sex with Megan the day before, which means we're probably seeing a recent succession of these events happening. Maybe this was a feeling that was building. Maybe this is a feeling of resentment that was building. Hey, you just did it with him. Now you're doing it with him too? Who knows? Again,
remember, Megan's also paying this young young lady. She's paying her. She's on a payroll. She's on a payroll.
You're right, but she might not react how somebody on a payroll will react when you're a friend of 13 years. Now you're upset. You're gonna argue. And again, I'm not saying that means you fight. I'm not saying that all of a sudden you just start fighting, but it's probably like, I'm pretty sure they didn't sweep it under the rug like, oh, no, that was cool that you did it. You know what I mean? Whatever the case is. No, I think there was a little bit of argument there. And plus, you got to imagine, everybody's throwing these barbs at each other. That's why I think Tory caught one. Hey, your music ain't even good, brother. Like, you're trash. You get what I mean?
Hold on. I got to do some housekeeping. Listen, anyone that's watching this stream right now, you buy yourself a badge. We're gonna end the stream real soon if you're not supporting the stream. You buy your badges, or we cutting this off. I don't care. I got court tomorrow.
You support my man.
Follow the page. And make sure you turn on your notifications, because I'm going to be giving you gavel to gavel reporting from inside the courtroom. So if you're following the page, you're halfway there. If you're subscribing, you're all the way there. And we're turning it up. Let's go, Ak.
Yeah. So again, I'm thinking it gets real personal in that car. Real personal. Everybody's kind of going at each other. And I do believe it gets physical in that car. Meg, let me not say Meg may have hit someone. Maybe someone hit Meg, right? Maybe they're all kind of hitting each other. Then all of a sudden, Meg's like, stop this fucking car. I want to get out. Let me out. Right? Keep in mind, apparently she had gotten out before, and then they convinced her to get back in. And then the second time when she gets out, that's when the shots get fired. So this clearly was not a easy go and ride where they're just arguing. I could imagine if you feel that uncomfortable that you want to get out. And by the way, here's another thing that Meg said, which I think that's why she didn't want to say too much. She said in the Gayle King interview, I never got physical with no one. I never did anything.
She said that.
She said that. So now she kind of got away with saying, well, the reason why I lied about having sex with them or being intimate with them was whatever. But now this is another thing. Well, you said you also didn't put hands on anyone. Did you? She kind of skated through that.
So if they start chiseling, remember, this is direct examination, cross-examination. The defense has not put on their case in chief yet. So the more they chisel away at her credibility, the more the jury is more likely to not convict him on all the counts. They're just not going to allow him to get convicted on 3 counts while she's lying.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Do you think that last charge, the discharge of a firearm, do you think that's probably the DA's office kind of like saying to themselves, hey, this is a high profile case. We need a win. They need some win here.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. But it has to be based on some evidence. They just can't just throw charges on you. But I had a defense attorney, Keisha El Shabazz, on the other day, and she did say that this is typical, and they can add, and it's a felony charge. It's not a lesser charge. I mean, it is a lesser charge, but it's a felony still, which is punishable by state time.
And also would mess up his, immigration status.
Wouldn't that be more incentive for him to fight this? Do you think that played a factor in him taking the position that maybe we got to blame someone else for this? I can't get sent back to Canada, be banned from America. Deportation is a motivating factor to do strange things.
True. Hey, do you believe that? Let's say we believe what Meg said, that Tory is pleading with them once he sees the cops turn the lights
Right.
on. And he said, I'm a felon. Hey, listen, I can't go. Do you think maybe we now find out he's not a felon, but maybe
he might have been capping. He might be capping. Yeah. Right.
Maybe he's capping because, that's easier to explain at that moment rather than saying, hey, if this shit, if I get caught for this shit, I might get deported. Which, he's been in situations before where he's got charges before and clearly he's beaten them or whatever, but he knows that his immigration status is always up
for grabs.
Yeah.
It's more motivation to influence others. But when let me ask you a question. No, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm going to make a statement. With that in mind, why fire a gun? Because firing the gun in that part of the city is going to bring some heat to you. So I don't know. Is Kelsey a shooter? And then,
hey,
hold on. Let me make another point. The gun was olive green. He came to court in a light green suit. I don't think that was missed by too many people.